Hey everyone, welcome back. I am Nick,
I'm Vic.
I'm Sam.
And I'm Andrew.
and we're MV Board Gaming back with another top 10. This time, our top 10 is games that are better without their expansion or expansions. To do our list, Vic and I, we just basically ranked it in order of likelihood in which we would include it or the most disappointing. We kind of like a mixed match of those two criteria. What about you guys?
Yeah, for us, we kind of ranked it as to like how much I liked the game without the expansions. So our number one would be the one that we liked the most without the expansions, whereas number 10 we liked the least without the expansions.
Oh, cool.
Right.
But there might be one that we don't really like either way, but it's worse without the expansions.
Any crossover you think?
I'm gonna say maybe one.
I'm gonna say two.
Two?
I'm gonna say
Okay.
two.
I think it's going to be minimal
Yeah.
crossover.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, kick us off.
All right, so for our number 10 is a very popular game that a lot of people love, and that is Terraforming Mars. For this game, at least for me, I just feel like I know there's like 5 different expansions. So you have Colonies, Turmoil, Venus, you have Prelude, you got the Hellas and whatever expansion, the maps. And to me, I really would just rather play base Terraforming Mars because when you throw that stuff in, even if I just throw in one, it's almost like either I almost ignore it and don't even engage in the expansion that even adds, like the Colonies or Venus, or the only thing I guess there could probably be a little bit of argument for Prelude, but all in all, I feel like some of those corporations some are better than others. So I almost don't even want to take the risk of getting a horrible corporation and start off, and that's how I feel the whole game really. We're not big fans of Terraforming Mars, but when it comes to expansions, I would much rather just play base game Terraforming Mars than with all the expansions. I don't know. What did you think?
Yeah, I can agree with you. I don't think that it added anything like amazing. I felt like it was kind of almost like, I don't know. Too much. Yeah, and I think the base game alone is fine the way that it is.
Yeah. Cool. So that's our number 10, Terraforming Mars.
All right.
All right. Number 10 for us is a game that we actually featured in games that you should try if you like chess. And this game is Onitama as the base game. And there's 2 expansions that it comes with. One is Sensei's Path. We're good with that. It really just adds cards to the game. So you're just going to get more maneuvers, more techniques, which is good because you can often, feel if you play the game enough that you've done those maneuvers over and over again. So it's nice to get to add some more actions there. The Way of the Wind expansion, though, is the one that we dislike a little bit, just not necessary for us, we feel, for the game. We don't really think it adds much to the gameplay, although others would disagree and think that it does add another level of interaction for players because there's this little plastic piece that's going to push your opponent and send them, further away from you, which is going to impact or towards you. Yeah, sort of change the game up that way. So.
Yeah, some people will like it, some people won't. For us, I think just the elegance of the base game, it kind of took away from that, I felt like. And there's another expansion out, which we haven't tried. I hear it totally changes the game, so you might love it, you might hate it. Just because you like Onitama, you might not like this other new expansion just came out. Can't remember what it's called, but it totally changes the game up. But yeah, that's number 10.
All right. So number 9 is actually a little bit of a cheat because it's a collection of games, but it's all the same kind of games, and that is the Tiny Epic games. We own quite a few of them. I think I've played about all of them except for maybe the newer ones, and every single one with the expansion, whether it was Pirates or if it was, and the only one I really love out of the series is Galaxies, but even that one I don't even want to play with the expansion. So all of those, they just kind of, I feel like add rules just to add rules. Just kind of make it more, and even each of the sets come with these little like micro expansions as well, and I could care less for those too. So every single one of those games I would prefer to play without the expansions altogether because I just feel like the game is more streamlined. All of them, the base games are more streamlined, just more fun, and just unnecessary clout, I guess I should say.
Yeah.
Is my thought.
Well, and they're Tiny Epic games. Like, they're made to be played, like, alone. So I feel like adding extra things, it was kind of unnecessary. Like, it was like, you don't really need it.
Right, yeah.
I can see that. We only had one real experience with a Tiny Epic game, which was Tiny Epic Dinosaurs,
Yeah.
which I wasn't even blown away by the base of that.
Right.
Yeah.
Controversial opinion, I guess. I'm supposed to like it because I love dinosaurs.
Yeah,
too.
Right.
yeah.
It was okay.
Yeah, it was fine.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, it has a little mini expansion in it too, and I'm just like, no, just no.
Yeah.
Alrighty, going on to number 9 for us is a game. It's one of probably the first games I've owned as far as modern games. It's one that probably made the first 20 that I've owned, and it's a cooperative game. Fairly simple rule set. It's pretty difficult to win though. It's called Ghost Stories. Ghost Stories. Right away, I looked up. There was 2 expansions. I looked up what everyone pretty much consensus. What's a better one? It's White Moon. So I got the White Moon expansion. And you know what? A game that's already hard to beat. Now you have to rescue villagers and things like that. It's adding that to it. You're starting to trigger off these different crystals that give you abilities. I mean, the only thing it really added I liked, I think, was like maybe one tile that we always use that tile now because it's a good tile.
Yeah.
Other than that, like this is a big box, and basically the only thing I really enjoy. I mean, I'll throw in the characters sometimes to change it up, whatever. You know, we haven't played in a while. Let's throw the characters in. But the one thing we really would play every time would be that one tile. Just throw that tile in there. That's all.
Yeah, a game that was already hard enough. I don't think we've ever won, or we won once, but it was maybe sketchy how we won.
Yeah, I know we won. I'm like, did we play that rule right? Maybe.
Yeah, so not sure about it, but it's hard. It's a hard game, so we don't.
It's pretty
need
lucky
that.
too. It's roll to resolve. So
Yeah, we'll stick with the base game on that one.
All right, number 8. So our number 8 is going to be Istanbul. Another fairly popular game that I think a lot of people actually really like the expansions, but they're not ones that I feel like just throws in more just to throw in more. With the coffee and with the letters, and I mean, I know the board gets drastically bigger when you add all those extra tiles of the Great Bazaar, I think is what it's called. And it just, to me, I feel like it almost drags the game out and kind of lengthens the game for me. I know there's more options now, but yeah, I prefer just playing it base game. I don't know if you have anything that you want to add with that one.
I agree with you though. I like the base game. I didn't think that it was anything spectacular.
Right, with the expansions.
Yeah.
I just felt like, again,
and it does prolong it for sure.
Right, that's been our experience. You said you guys like Istanbul?
I like
With the
I like
expansions?
Istanbul, and I like the coffee.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I like to drink coffee, so I was like, I mean, but is that valid
Right.
in this? But yeah.
Yeah. So at first, I would say that's probably our first disagreement. I think I like that better.
Right.
But I still like the base game without. It's a great game.
Right, yeah, I love the base game. It's just when I throw those extra ones, I'm just kind of like,
Yeah.
it's just a little too much and maybe drags it out, and I start to be like, okay, can we wrap this up kind of thing.
Okay. By the
So,
way,
yeah.
if you don't own Istanbul, they have an excellent app. Excellent. One of the best apps. Really good.
I have not
like
tried
it.
that. I should try it sometime.
No.
Do they have the
I
expansions
sold-
on there?
It was so. I think you buy it separate. Maybe I could be
Okay.
wrong. I haven't played in a while, but I actually sold Istanbul and the coffee expansion when the app came out because it was so good.
Oh,
It was
okay.
so nice, and you can.
Wow.
It was so well programmed and well laid out, and the graphics, everything is really nice production.
Right.
And I got it for like $3.
Oh, okay.
That's cheap.
Yeah.
That's not too bad.
It's a
Nice.
good one.
All right, so that's our number 8, Istanbul.
Number 8 for us is a game that we have really raved about. This game sneaks onto a lot of our lists when we talk about games that we play. We play this one a lot. It's called Ganymede. It has an expansion that gives you a lunar exploration, a lunar base that you can access with your meeples. And it adds these council seats at the end that will score victory points for you, or I think it gives you an ability as well.
Yeah,
the
the
councils.
people you can hire.
Yeah, you got to move a meeple over there from the moon over to the end. Now, when we play this game, we already are focused so much on the base game that we find that with this, the reason it makes this list is we just don't use it enough. So we find that it's there, but it's just there. And we're not doing anything with it. And so often he sets it up, he explains it to me again, and this is how it works. I go, oh, okay. And then I go right back to more just straight up Ganymede.
Give me the fastball. I don't care about this.
Exactly. So
And I do the same thing. I might get one character, but I'm like, if I ever teach this, I'm not going to teach you with this.
Right.
It's already such a good game for what you're getting. I mean, you get this game for like $14 sometimes on Miniature Market, and $20 usually. And it's such a good game for that price. It's ridiculous.
yeah.
All right, number 7. You want to...
Yep, number 7 for us is King Domino. Yeah. We had the Age of Giants expansion.
Yep, that's the only one that's officially out.
Yeah, I thought so. And yeah, I was not a fan, but it is very like mean, you know, with the giants stomping around on your kingdom, and didn't really like that. But I mean, it didn't really make it fun. I mean, and beyond that, you know, like it being like, oh, it's mean, but like I liked the base game without it. I mean, I was like, I think I got it for you for Christmas or your birthday or something.
Maybe.
One year, I can't remember, but yeah.
I mainly like it because it has the tile tower. But the whole premise is, for this expansion, is that you don't want to get giants, and if you do get giants, you want to send them to the other people because it's going to erase essentially their scoring.
Yeah.
And so obviously it's got some Take That. Samantha's not a big fan of Take That. So when we thought of this list, I was like, this is definitely going to be on it. I didn't know where it would fall. But, you know, it's just not one that I think fits our play style. I guess if you really, I mean, King Domino doesn't strike me as a game where you need to be that confrontational. It's a pretty, I mean, low barrier to entry kind of game, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, hey, you get these new gamers, you want to play King Domino? And I'm going to play this expansion and be real mean.
Yeah.
I'm just going to hurt you the whole game.
I had higher expectations for it.
It does add the extra ways to score points,
objectives.
tiles as well, those objectives, but for the most part, the Giants are the big issue we have with it. So
Yeah, and it's crazy to imagine that people, well, to me it's crazy, but some people just want to add a Take That element to a game where you're doing your own thing. They just want to be able to trash or destroy a part of your kingdom.
Yes.
Or
what are you doing over there?
remove a tile, draw a goblin on your cartographer map, stuff like that.
Totally
People
not
love
my
that
style.
stuff.
So yeah, our number 7 is King Domino.
All right. Number 7 for us. This expansion actually soured the game a little bit for me. It was that bad. I liked the campaign part of it, but then when you just take what is given to you and try to put it into the game and try to play with it, it gets old really quick. And this is space-based. It's particularly Shy Pluto. I liked the campaign just fine. When we scored the game, we rated it on the channel. I gave it like an 8.3 or something. Or I liked the game. But I give the expansion the 6s because I'm like, I'm never going to use these red dice. I'm never going to use this crap. So I wasn't a big fan of Shy Pluto. I don't know. What about you, Vic?
Yeah, I agree with that. So often I wasn't at no interest in activating those abilities or playing.
You get more cards, and those cards, like, I don't really care about this module. I don't want more of these. I don't want to see these. I just want to, if I play Space, let's play Space.
That's how I felt.
All right, number 6.
Number 6 is Grand Austria Hotel.
Nice.
Yeah, we weren't pleased when we played.
I was
the
very disappointed.
Expansions, yeah. I mean,
because I backed this on Kickstarter.
Yeah, I was wondering.
I was very excited about it.
yeah.
It added a lot of modules to it, and it like kind of like you were talking about with space. It almost like ruined the game for me. It almost ruined the game for me. I regret buying the expansion, and I got all the deluxe. I'll keep the deluxe bits, that I got, but yeah, the Let's Waltz expansion has a ton of modules, but it just I feel like it slowed the game to almost like a halt. I feel like it was just so slow, and overall, I just did not like this expansion at all. I really like Grand Austria Hotel. I liked it. I really like the game, the base game, but I'll probably never play with the expansion.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah.
The thing that, I mean, the artwork was better, right? Like the cards.
Yeah, they give replacement cards.
I mean, there were
I added
replacement
Vic
cards.
to the game.
Character.
Oh, yeah. Wasn't there Bernie Sanders in
Yeah,
there?
I made a Bernie Sanders
or a
card.
lookalike, yeah. So, I mean, I thought that was funny, but I was like, I mean, it wasn't what we thought it would be, and so, yeah, and I think even like setting it up, it took more time to set all of it up, and then we played it, and we're like, oh,
because you have the ballroom one, and it adds the champagne and everything, and it just adds a lot that I just felt like was so not needed, and almost not even in the spirit of Grand Austria Hotel. At least that was my feeling.
Yeah.
Just to clarify, Vic was the wine one, right? The wine character? Was that what?
Yeah, I made a wine character.
And Bernie Sanders was what reason? I know the guy looked like him.
Oh, all of his benefits were giving everybody money.
Money. Okay,
Yeah.
so got it.
So yeah, I tried to That was the best part of the expansion. I spent like an hour trying to create different characters.
Yeah, that was the best part.
Yeah. So that's our number 6, Grand Austria Hotel.
Alrighty.
Number 6 for us is a game that we really enjoy, a beautiful game. There's a lot in this big box. This game was quite expensive, I think, when it was a Kickstarter, right? When it came out.
When it first came out, it was Kickstarter.
We bought it afterwards. We didn't back it as a Kickstarter, but I still got it with lots of nice, amazing components. Big box, trays, all sorts of stuff. So there's plenty going on with this game already. And this is sort of similar to other games in this list that we feel that there's enough as it is. There's already enough modules. There's already enough keeping us entertained. And, we don't play it every single day, so maybe that's a factor. But we're already getting through, like, the pets and all the different modules, and we haven't even really delved much into the attacking of there's an assailant or some sort of monster. We
did that.
We did touch it like a little bit. We haven't done it that much.
What's the game?
Yeah, that's what I was like.
Oh, I haven't said it. I'm sorry. It's Vindication.
Yes.
My bad. I thought I said it.
Itchy receipt.
Oh.
It's like a quiz.
She's really building this up.
Yeah. So that game Smartass where you're just getting a bunch of clues and then it gets very obvious at the end.
Yeah.
We should do a top 10 where we just give clues to the games and never say it.
I'm saying it.
You can get it right.
I thought I said 3 times.
Vindication. No.
I thought I said
0.
3
Now we got 1.
Sorry.
Our number 6.
Vindication. There's a lot going on. So much that I didn't remember the name.
We have enough modules.
It's modules. Maybe it's modules. I said 3
Yeah,
times.
you probably some modules a few times.
There's a lot.
There was already a lot, and then we had more modules.
So you don't need
I was like, wait, did I miss it? Like, I keep listening. And
It's
I'm
called
like,
modules.
I played this game, and I was like, I have no idea what she's doing.
Aw.
It's called Go Fish. 2nd edition.
With the pets.
Yeah.
With the pets?
All right. So those are your guys' number 6, right?
Yes.
All right. Number 5.
Number 5 is Suburbia.
Yeah,
So-
that's a good one.
Yeah, I liked it as the base. I mean, that's all I have to say.
Because this was another one we backed on Kickstarter, got the collector's edition, and I love the way it looks and everything. Beautiful production game.
Very.
We've played with the expansions. They add the new tiles. They have the little, like, I don't know if I want to call them barriers, but it's like the city park zoo, the forest, the amusement park, kind of like barriers that adds into the game. And it just, again, I think it just almost puts limitations on what I can do a little bit. And you just add in some extra tiles that I just feel like are just kind of thrown in there. Just be like, hey, here's some more option, and it almost kind of throws you for a loop. I know they have like the 5-star expansion in Suburbia Inc., where you're like a corporation, if I remember right, and all that stuff. And I'm just kind of like, this is, again, feels like a little too much. I was happy with the game and kind of that building up your own little economy in those different areas, which was good. And then you're just kind of tacking this on. Again, I feel like it kind of slowed the game down a little bit for me, at least. So yeah, that's what I thought about Suburbia. You guys have played the expansions and stuff?
No, but I looked into it. You know what? And I think I get that feeling that this is like an unneeded expansion this whole time. It's always discounted too. It's like,
Yep, definitely. It just feels so unneeded.
It's one of those things that's like, don't ruin a good thing. Like, it. I mean, I really enjoy Suburbia.
Right.
And I feel like it was one of those things where it's like, oh, like, it makes you just, like, meh.
And I feel like that happens. A game can be so popular. They're like, oh, we just got to keep throwing stuff out there. We'll get some money and, keep this going.
Yeah.
And just,
it's like, just leave it.
Yeah, base game Suburbia is the way to go.
Yep.
I got that vibe too.
Yeah.
So that's our number 5.
Okay, number 5. I'm going to say the name right away. Number 5 is Kanagawa. This
How many modules?
Yeah. This game, the expansion is Yokai, and the expansion gives you 3 sets of cards, but when you implement them in with the base game, you're switching out 2 of those. You're switching out 2 of the 3 originals with a new set.
Yes.
So you don't really the cards that you're switching in with them, they're very similar still, so they're not really changing the game fundamentally. So, for instance, originally you were counting trees. You were trying to collect trees for your landscape. Now the new expansion, lanterns.
Count your lanterns.
Now count lanterns and collect lanterns. Okay, Sure.
Yeah,
But yeah, unfortunately, it just wasn't something that we felt really changed the game much. Just added more cards to shuffle in, and you don't even get to play with all of them, and they're very similar.
Yeah, it's the same game. The only thing they added those little pieces, I guess those are the yokai that they call. You can pass them back and forth, kind of like what they're saying with King Domino and Queen Domino, the expansion where you're passing the giants.
Right.
You're trying to pass these along too. You don't want them.
Right.
You want a lantern?
There you go.
Right.
Yeah.
We're just gonna
Oh,
throw
no, the
them
lanterns
these-
are good.
Yeah.
The
Oh.
yokai are not.
Yokai.
The
Here's a
lanterns are the
yokai.
same thing as the trees.
What's a yokai?
I don't know what they
If you gotta ask, you
speak
don't want to
it.
know.
They look like little vases. They have faces on them though.
Right. They're part of this expansion that you don't want to play with.
Sushi.
You can play. It's
Yeah.
not going to hurt the game necessarily. It's just not going to add anything. It's like, why did I pay for this? I already have this game. I guess I can
that's
swap these things around. These yokai, you got that.
Right.
That's
we're
good
gonna
to know.
we're gonna add an expansion that you don't want.
Yeah, an excellent game, beautiful game that really doesn't add that much.
Well, I won't get that expansion.
I was about to
No.
say that's
It's free.
good because then we won't get it.
Yeah, you can try it.
Yeah, I like Kanagawa.
I don't know if I need to. All right. So number 4 is Sagrada. So this is another game I think is like almost like an evergreen game that I think a lot of people love. And it's got a bunch of different, it's got life, it's got passion, it's got glory, all this extra stuff. And it's got like a 5 and 6 player. No, I don't know why. I don't know of too many games where they're like, add more players. This is a good idea. I have not had that many experiences where there's a lot of expansions out there. That's
Yeah,
good.
not very many.
Right, but then and because we've added new players, now we're going to be these private pool of dice. And again, I just feel like you're just throwing stuff in just because this is a popular game. Let's just throw more in and make it more complicated. When this is a game that when I want to pull this out, I'm playing this with new gamers. These are people that are kind of looking into the hobby. It's a beautiful game. I don't need to kind of really bog them down with extra rules and extra things going on.
I
And
agree with
it adds a lot more cards and whatnot, but there's just and then you have a masterpiece that you get to work on with your stained glass, and it's just, for me, it's too much. I'd rather just play base Sagrada. It's so much quicker to just go, So,
Right.
so Sagrada is our number. Oh, did you have anything? You wanna-
No, I agree with everything you say.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sagrada is our number 4.
All right. Number 4 is actually the only game that I didn't play this expansion. I read all the rules, looked at videos, how does this go, and didn't buy it because I like this game so much, and I was so disappointed by what it added. Game is Heaven and Ale. So Heaven and Ale is such a clean design. It really works so well. I like the game a lot. We rated it very highly on our channel, early on in this channel. This one adds another board that seems like it takes away from the whole elegance of the main game. That now you have to shift your focus to this other board where you're moving a barrel around and you're trying to load kegs and wheat. And it scores you so many points that you cannot ignore it. You're getting tons of points from this. You're getting all the objectives as well. So new objectives. And now on the board, it has a Parks Nightfall element, if you've played Parks with Nightfall expansion, except it's not cool. Because all you do is, instead of your action, you can take a wheat. So
Sorry.
Cool.
you're like that just takes away so much.
Sounds so
Sounds
underwhelming.
great.
It's not an action. You just take a wheat. Some spots has a keg. It's the same concept. You don't do your action, you take the keg. So yeah, that's not exciting. I mean, that's not a fun game. That's not a fun idea. And these are great designers that just, I don't know, the game was popular and they thought they had to put out something, and it just didn't seem exciting, didn't seem good, and it went right to my list as far as expansions I never even want to try.
Yeah.
All right. Number 3.
All right, number 3 is Tiny Towns.
Almost
Yeah,
made my list.
I did not think it was needed at all.
Well, both of them, because you have Villagers and you have
Yeah.
Fortune.
Yeah, so I mean, I really like I played the base game, and then the expansions were added, and I just did not find it to be.
Yeah, the coins
Good.
weren't that exciting. I didn't feel like, especially with Fortunes, you had the coins, which weren't very exciting. I just felt like it just added another thing to manage. As I also had to kind of focus on this because then I had my board and I was making sure I put everything in the right area to build the certain buildings. And I know they added new buildings, which is usually I'm always like in favor of that. But
Yeah.
most of them built off of those coins, and I wasn't that impressed with the buildings, and I almost prefer to not play with those buildings. And then with the Villagers, and you have the people, and they're coming into your board, and again, I feel like a lot. I'm almost being repetitive with a lot of these expansions, where I just feel like it just adds more on top of more because it's a popular game. It was, I thought, like sold really well originally, and then they just kind of add more. They even have like a mini expansion for like these tiny trees that you put out there. But I almost just ignore it, and it's like, oh, if you don't get rid of this acorn, it turns into a tree, you get a point, and it's like, what's the point? It's just kind of tacked on feel just to tack it on, kind of thing. So yeah, so. Our number 3 is Tiny Town.
That was close. That was like our number 13 or so.
Yeah.
It was right in there. Yeah, it was real close. The only redeeming quality for me was in Villagers. Those cards are okay. When you get to trigger those cards, I think that's actually a useful ability.
Yeah.
So I'm like, it just fell off the list because I kind of like it. But the simplicity of the base game, you can make a case that it might even be better just as it is.
Right.
So yeah, I could see fitting it on this list.
And there's just so much replayability with the different cards. I was just like, I'm happy with that, instead of having the different buildings. So yeah, number 3.
All right. Our number 3 is a game that is straight up better with the base game. There's no doubt about it for me. At first, when I first saw it, I was definitely intrigued. It got rid of all the words on the cards and went with symbology. This game is called Vault Wars. Vault Wars was a really fun base game, and I was excited when I backed the Kickstarter for the base game and the expansion, Relic Roadshow, I believe it's called. And just, I don't know, I was so impressed at first because they got rid of all the words. That was the main thing. It's like, now we got this symbols. It looks like such a clean graphic design. And then it just fell flat every time we played it. It's like, man, I missed the original. The original was better. It had better powers and it had better everything. And the relics, who cares? It fell so flat, and everyone that we played with agreed as well. It's like, the base game was better. So,
Yeah, I remember that.
yeah, that's
It's
our
unfortunate.
Number 3, Vault Wars.
All right, number 2, Samantha, you take this one away because I know this is a big one for you.
Yeah, number 2 is Architects of the West Kingdom. Sorry. Architects of the West Kingdom. So this is like, I'd say out of the West Kingdom games, this is definitely one of my favorites. I won't say it's my absolute favorite, but when we played the expansion, expansions. Yeah. When we added on those things, like I really wasn't impressed by them. Okay. I felt that the game itself, Architects, is an awesome game. You don't really need to add anything to it. I think it's one of those things where you're adding things just to add things to it.
I know this was the big one that you were pushing for this list. I like the first one, Age of Artisans. I do like that expansion because I like that whole adding something to your worker or your townsfolk or whatever, or you're adding something to your buildings, which was really cool. So I like that one. It gives you like almost like a grande worker as well. The new one, Works of Wonder, does feel a little bit more tacked on. There's a little bit more upkeep when you're moving around the princess and the proctor or whatever. And but now you have this new track of influence that is just kind of like a new currency, essentially. And you're using it to spend in order to avoid spending money or, whatever. And these different contracts to build up these wonders that you're kind of working towards together, it seems like. I agree with that one a little bit, but I know this one was a big one for you. So I could definitely see that second one being...
The grande worker, I can say, is, that one, I mean, that ability is nice.
Right, because it's like 2.
Yeah, I mean, of course, like, who wouldn't want 2 workers for the price of 1? But... Yeah, the princess and the proctor thing. And the influence track, I'm like, I feel like it was just so much to manage that it was like, And then you only got benefits when they were in certain places. And then if they were where you were at, you got dinged.
Right. If at the end, when you could, if you were there, if you had the most or whatever, you could get wounded for essentially.
Right, because you're not, obviously you're not knowing when it's going to end, and then you'll be there and you're like, no!
Taking debts or going to prison or whatever.
It definitely is suspenseful. And I was like, I hate it.
Yeah, it could be good to go there, but you don't want to be there at the end when it kind of flips over.
When it gets triggered and you don't really know when that's coming. I mean, kind of, sort of, but it might surprise you. So,
right, yeah.
All right. Well, I like the Artisans expansion. I haven't played Works. It's still in shrink. So actually, we were gonna play it yesterday. We had it out, and we just don't have time. I was like, well, let's see if this belongs on the list or not.
Yeah.
So I can't say if it's
Samantha
good or
is
not.
much more of the naysayer on this one than
Yeah.
me. But.
I mean, maybe it's just because I'm like,
Like the
don't mess with my game.
Don't mess with
You
the
know,
thing.
like
Because at one point you loved Architects, but as the expansion has gone,
it's going down.
Yeah, I was like, oh, okay.
All right, my our number 2 is a game that it's by a publisher that I love. I really adore Eagle Griffin Games. They treated me right. I've ordered from them once, but it was a big order. I got like Kanban, and they threw in a module or a little extra supercharge expansion. I ordered Fleet the Dice game from them, and Francis Drake expansion, and they sent me another game that was Maniacal, which is like $55 for free in that thing. And they said they were going to do it. It's not like, oops, I made a mistake. It was like a promo. I'm like, and they gave me an Eagle Griffin magnet. They just threw in a bunch of like these little swag, it felt like. It's like, man, that was really good how they treated me. But unfortunately, that Francis Drake expansion was terrible. Look, I think this is just straight up misleading. Because if you get this expansion for Francis Drake, you're not getting much of anything. You're getting rules for a 2-player game, which already existed. They have existed for years. You're getting 6-player expansion if you need it. I don't know who's going to play it, but maybe somebody out there really. I heard it's good 6 players, so maybe there's like 10 people that played it. Essentially what it gives you is a couple extra tokens that if you've played it, these tokens there's only 2 types of tokens. There's types that give you troops that you have to fight, and there's types that you have to overcome canyons, and their values of 1, 2, 0 sometimes. Well, this one throws in one that has a 3, and an extra one that has a 2 on it, for both situations. And that's that's awful. And they call them Spain's Revenge and Moctezuma's Legacy. So I'm cool new titles for these scenarios. The scenarios are just a little extra tile that you might reveal an extra canyon or a cannon, and that's really the only word is that's terrible. It was such a disappointment. What a ripoff, and just a terrible expansion. That is Francis Drake, and surprisingly, it's number 2, not number 1.
Keeps you up at night.
I guess I like Eagle Griffin a little bit, so I give him number 2 instead of
number 1's gonna be absolutely horrible then, huh?
Yeah,
Cut him deep. Yeah.
Right. All right. So our number 1 is in my top 10 games of all time, and that is Space Base. It's a crossover.
Nice.
So I love Space Base. I love the game. Played through Shy Pluto. I have the Command expansion. I've got all of the promos, and we just got delivered the second Saga expansion as well. So I'm excited to play through it, but if I'm looking forward to playing through the campaign, but if I'm going to sit down and play a game of Space Base, I am not pulling out all that stuff. With all the little, you have all the little dice, and depending on how many players you have, it determines when you actually get to roll them, whether it's on other players' turns or whatnot. And then you're going to have, and I can already see a little bit through this campaign that's going to add more, and I'm like, no way I'm going to add that in when I sit down. I'm going to play through the campaign, and then I probably won't use it. But I love the base game so much, it's in my top 10 games. But when we sit down, it's just, you got the ship tokens to buy the little dice, and when you roll them, and then you have all the extra cards, and you got to look up every little symbol and how they work and whatnot. It's a lot. It's a lot in that game, and I feel like it makes it more complicated than it needs to be. But I really do love Space Base. But yeah, do you want to add anything to it?
Well, no. I mean, I agree with you on just, Space Base is, it's simple. It's a simple game. It's easy for people to learn, but I think adding all of that makes it more complicated than it needs to be, like you said.
Right.
The campaign, too, because, I mean, it's okay, but I think I expected more out of it for me personally.
Right.
So.
And who plays Space Base at 7? Like with the command station 7, I'm like, why? Why would you put yourself through that? I would never. I would play this at 4. I don't know if I'd go higher than 4.
Yeah, I feel like that's
really
a lot
chaotic.
going
7.
on.
Right.
Like,
I mean, yes, you're engaged in everybody's turns, but if you have 7,
It's too engaged.
I'm just like, I'm gonna go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
Somebody roll my dice for me. I'll come back.
yeah.
But yeah, so our number 1 is Space Base.
Yeah.
All right. Our number 1 game is a crossover with you guys. It is the Age of Giants expansion
Oh, really?
for King Domino / Queen Domino. So this was a similar thing to what Kanagawa sort of did, where you're passing the yokai in Kanagawa, but in this one you're passing the giants, right? So we touched on that already. I'm not going to rehash all that, but yeah, passing things back and forth. No, I don't really want to do that too much. The one redeeming thing, and Nick may speak to this.
He actually already did.
Yeah, the tile
You can
kit.
store tiles in the thing.
Yeah.
So I can just buy that? Because this expansion's terrible. Like, here, you're giant. No, you're a giant. You're giant. Like, no, what is this? This is stupid. Get it out of here.
It gets where you're just taking a tile just to get rid of a giant.
Yeah.
Like, this is insulting. This is Bruno Catala. Come on.
Yeah.
What's going on? We have 2 of the entries with him.
But nice carrier, though. We really do
I mean,
like that.
what's more of a disappointment than one designer, one of the best of all time, gives you this thing where you just pass giants around? What a joke. What a joke.
Yeah. So we're not huge on passing giants in
And
this
passing
crew.
yokai. Get
Yeah,
out
we're
my
not
face.
passing anything.
Come on, Bruno.
Unless you're paying
You
us.
did the same thing twice. I still love you, but no expansion.
We'll have to
anymore.
look out for that in future
Yeah,
games.
Bruno.
What is this expansion?
Yeah, no
Base
pass.
game, Bruno. Don't ever do that again.
We pass on the passing of stuff. We
Yeah,
don't really
no,
care for that.
no.
So maybe this list was controversial. Maybe you all
No,
disagree.
these are bad.
And you want to fight with us in the comments. I don't know. But let us know below what you think is the game that doesn't need an expansion, or if you disagree with everything we say or you agree, let us know. If you liked this video, please click the like, thumbs up, and subscribe to our channel for more great lists. We'll see you next time.
Goodbye.
Bye.